Thank you, Rizio. Welcome and good evening to all of you friends. I'm Devender from Rio16. We are an organization based in Ahmedabad, and we are a media arts and human rights organization who has been producing films, supporting organizations in their campaigns for 20 years. I take this opportunity to introduce the film and also talk about how it started off about a year back when these three young guys who had been volunteers in our different programs came up with this concept note and said that we want to do a biopic on Virender. The idea was brilliant, and although we had never ventured to work on this sector, on this issue, we decided that we will go ahead with it. And what a brilliant effort it has been. You all will see the film. And I'm really happy that we're having this screening, the first one in Delhi, and I'm really grateful to LILA Foundation to have facilitated this entire event. As Rizio said, that the film is a biopic which deals on the issue, but I think it's beyond the film which we are looking at. It's not about just producing a film, taking up one story at it, but it's about a campaign on exclusion, systemic exclusion that happens in our country, be it in bureaucracy, be it in, as we understand, in a general life. So the film is just a message. It's to take this movement, it's to take this fight forward. And we would continue doing the screenings in different places, and we want all of your support to take this to your own spaces, so that we have more spaces where we have more people who can take this fight to their own house, to their own institutions, and have a much better understanding of the issue. I would now ask my panelists and to talk more about how they feel, and I would first ask Rahul, who has been also part of the film, in explaining to us how the sports code really discriminates in black and white the whole issue, and from someone who has been a practitioner, eminent lawyer, and who has taken on the BCCI and also almost all the sports federations in the country. I would ask Rahul to start, if you can speak on how you see the closed category and which we see in the film, and how one can possibly challenge it, and what would be the role of civil society in the industry.
Thank you so much. First of all, my sincere apologies for coming late. Unfortunately, when you are too much dependent on technology and technology fails you, you don't know that your calendar, the way it looks. So I did have a reminder on my phone, but somehow technology failed. So I got a call from Vivek at 7, and I just rushed. I broke all the rules I put on the road so that I could be there. So sorry for that. Well, I don't know whether I'm a part of the film, but it's a great thing to have three youngsters who are so enthusiastic about getting into an area which is almost like a virgin area. Nobody's touched it ever before. And legends are not only legends who are able, but also differently able. And Virender is an epitome of that. I must plead guilty that I hadn't, despite the amount that I am interested in sports, being a lawyer and being a sports activist, which I'm very proud of, I didn't know that Virender existed in India and Indian sports. So sincere apologies for that. And three guys came from Gujarat and other places, and they exposed me to it. So I'm grateful to Vivek and the team who have done that. So that's the level of awareness. Somebody who's been fighting the system almost for the last 14 years as a lawyer. I had no clue that this is a person who's been discriminated so much. So what to talk about Kalmadis and Vinods and Chotalas? They don't even have a heart. All they believe in is that they need to be sucking up to the positions of power, and all they know is how to eat into the vitals of Indian sports. And this man doesn't figure in their priority. This man is not a man who should be representing India for them. Because for them, it's all about not even allowing Abhinav Bindra to represent. So, I mean, what are we talking about? Whom are we fooling? You know, the famous book of Abhinav, after he won the gold medal, and the only one so far, unfortunately, he gives an account of how Kalmadi came up to him, shook his hands, and got his name wrong. That's his book. That the IUA president did not even know the name of the person with whom he was shaking his hands at the time when he was the only Olympic gold medal winner in the last 104 years of Indian Olympic history. So where does this man figure? He's not in the list of priorities, and these people don't have empathy. They have anything but empathy for sports and sports persons, leave alone Virender. So yes, the entire law, I mean, and I'm glad that I was for a few days a part of that completely compromised, committee constituted by the Sports Ministry under the most compromised man ever on planet Earth, P.K. Dev, who was then the Sports Secretary. Thank God his tenure was over. He was hell-bent upon being a protector of the sports code. He was the biggest violator. I can understand the anxiety amongst the Narendra Batras and the Notes and the others to violate every law of the land. But when you are the person who has to protect the law and you become its biggest violator, I think that's the biggest sin that you can commit. Because everybody like Virender and others look up to them to protect their rights. And if you become a violator of that, then God save everybody else. And P.K. Dev epitomized all of that. He was a smooth talker, so I got into that smooth talking the first time, but the second time around I made sure that I understand who this guy was. Just scrape the skin and you understand what that guy was. During the deliberations of that sports committee, the sports drafting bill committee, in the very first meeting, and again thanks to the team out here, I made sure that all the differently abled sports are actually recognized by the sports ministry, and that is a part of the sports bill. So imagine, I mean, the sports ministry did not even recognize Winter Olympic Games. Forget about differently abled. So I had to actually make a presentation, and thankfully we had Abhinav Bindra and a few other people who could understand my anxiety and where I came from. And they were equally shocked, as I was. How can you not recognize Winter Olympics? I mean, if you go to the Olympics, you will see that probably Winter Olympics is more well attended than even Summer Olympics. That's the passion that Europeans and Americans have for Winter Olympics. And here, Government of India doesn't even recognize for funding. So the Shivas and the others in youth sport, and they are battling. They don't have any grants, they don't have any funds because the Government of India doesn't recognize that sport. The Indian Olympic Association did not recognize the 5 Winter Olympic Games. It only happened once I took them to court, and that's a long history, we won't get into that. So we've come to a stage where now Winter Olympics is recognized, and all differently abled sports and sports persons do have a right because they are recognized. But the problem is that bill is not recognized because we have the Jaitlis and the Rajiv Shuklas and the P.K. Malhotras and name God bless all of them. But these are people who are good politicians, but they are lousy sport administrators, and I don't think they even understand S of sports on both sides of the spectrum. So they can do whatever they can do within the 4 walls of the great parliament that we have, but they have no business to be where they are, trying to destroy a good legislation from coming up. And I just hope that Khel part doesn't take as long as a Lok part. So in the Olympics and the Olympic rules do recognize somebody like him. It says that if you have an appropriate team with you, which he can be given, and if he's not given, I'm sure there are enough people to chip in out here to provide him that team, then the rules allow him to, in fact, compete with the able-bodied teams. And here we are in our own country, shunning such efforts I mean, imagine the kind of effort this person has to put in. First, fight with the disability that he has. And then fight with the disabled mental mindset of the sports administrators. He has fought with the former, but can he fight with the latter? And that is where each one of us need to chip in. Probably if there are some journalists, you need to write about him. You need to make him, a folklore about him. Every child needs to understand what it takes to be a Virender in this country. And we are, even Abhinav Bindra is where he is despite the system, not because of it. Imagine him, multiplied to the power infinite. So, God bless him, he's a person who inspires everybody, including me. I have just fought the system simply because God has given me that ability as a lawyer to fight that system. I haven't succeeded even an iota in my own eyes because the challenges are far, far, far greater than what I expected. There are challenges, I'm sure, in each one of our lives. But then the point is, we must continue on that path, irrespective of who that personality might be and what the challenges might be. And yes, who said that before you tread that path, you will succeed? And neither did I. We are just playing our little role in the larger perspective. And I just hope one day, sooner than God intervenes for the Chautalas and the Kalmadis and the Manods, and me as well, you don't want that God intervenes, that's why they are removed from that chair. You want that laws should make sure. In fact, there should be some morality left in them, but obviously these people are without morals and ethics. Despite the fact that they're suspended for the last 1 year in the IUA, they have no qualms about playing the games and protecting their own pupils. Completely forgetting what the Indian athlete feels when they are not being represented under the Indian tricolour. So this man and his sport is absolutely a non-priority for him. And I hope a movie like this will reach out, a movie like this will be shown everywhere, a movie like this will probably interest each one of us, and we take this fight on. Hopefully sometime soon we should take them to court. And if they do not support a person like him, we need to force them and embarrass them. And take the story to every household. This is what Indian sports is. This is what these administrators are. So what to expect of them? And they need to be named and shamed. I think in this country we really fall short of naming and shaming people. So we need to gather the courage to name. That's why I make sure that I take the big names every time, wherever I go. Because they need to be named and shamed. There's no other way that these people will actually go out and go to some other place. So thank you very much for having me over. I don't know whether I can, what all I can do and how I can contribute, but believe you me, I'm here for you guys. It will be an inspiration and also a very satisfying moment for me as well, if I can be a small instrument in this cause. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Rahul. I think you had ventured in the past that you would want to take the judiciary if the need arises to take it, and we're really looking forward to that moment. May I also welcome Poonam Natarajan on stage. Someone who has worked also closely with the bureaucracy and having known the system and also with the civil society, how your take and how do you see civil society movement towards this so that we have more inclusive systems?
think everybody, this change of season, everybody's getting this fever and upset stomachs, and this happened, and by the end of the day, I was not feeling well enough, so I got late. I went to Bangalore for this inclusion summit, and I heard the three of them, that is Vivek, Meet and Pratik. And I was just fascinated by their story. It was just wonderful how they decided to make a film and how they actually met with Virender, and how, and you know, the whole experience of making that film, as each one of them described it, was just wonderful. I first of all, I want to say that it's such a wonderful effort by, well, they're not really part of what we call the disability sector. And for them to think of this film, I think is really wonderful. Many congratulations to them and to you, to the producer. So many congratulations for doing this film. I totally agree with you that, whether we just haven't been able to give enough attention to sports. And as far as people with disabilities are concerned, the government now, of course, at the Department of Disability Affairs, is trying to make a kind of a roadmap with the Ministry of Sports, and we are hoping many things happen in sports. And but let's take the civil society. Most of the work in the disability sector happens through the civil society. But even in the civil society, all of us who worked, I've been in the disability sector for more than almost 34 years. And I think we've all been so busy just doing the basics and getting services there, and parents and families and people. And of course, there's some sports have started, like the Special Olympics. But, to get, really to get there and really get out the talent and potential of people with disabilities who are marginalized has not been addressed. And I think it urgently needs to be addressed, because as a teacher myself, I had so many students who wanted to do wheelchair tennis or wheelchair basketball. I had many students who were with cerebral palsy and other multiple disabilities who were very good chess players. But they don't get enough opportunities in our country, and I think the registered the organizations, or most of the services in India have been set up by parents, and I see Mehra sitting here, and all of us have, as parents, set up these services. Even I was, because of my son who was born with cerebral palsy and an intellectual disability and a multiple disability, visual impairment, that I got into this field and set up services in Chennai. So we've been wanting to get into sports, but I think we've not been able to do enough. And so it was like a breath of fresh air, listening to the story of how Goonga Pehelwan film was made. And also the aim to get to the Olympics. And I just heard that, I think we must ensure, I think that these three young men have taken this, four young men have taken on this. And I think together, we all, from the civil society and from the government, should ensure that Virender Singh reaches Rio de Janeiro in 2016. And I'll be very interested to, do anything that I can do to make that happen. So I'm totally with all of you and wish you all the best. And it's really nice to see so many people here. Generally, the disability sector is always, doesn't get enough attendance. But I think things are changing, and we're going to have days when more people will come together, so that people with disabilities can also be part of the mainstream and can participate and be included. So many congratulations to you, and many congratulations to Vivek and Meet and Pratik, and I really hope that Goonga Pehelwan is seen by many, many, many people, and let's hope we get there in 2016. Thank you so much.
Thank you and for the encouraging words, and we really would bank on how we can take it forward from here, because mission Rio16 is the mission. We have Devender Singh, who is himself an icon, and we all know the reason why. First person to have run a marathon with. So I would ask him, and he has brilliant plans of taking this film to the ground, because that's what matters. You have to have the voice from there up there, and he has also an organization of people, the challenging ones, and we'll speak more about how we can take it on the ground, and I hope every one of us can then take leads from there.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak to you all. See, like Rahul and I am also agreeing to that sports is missing, right? I remember the school in which I was studying, we had a annual sports day once in 12 years. Now, how can you think about, when the sports annual day is celebrated after so many years, to have a sports and that to, encouraging them to come up to a level so that somebody like Virender can go and take part in a normal Olympic. In the Western country itself, there is an example set by another Blade Runner. He's the actual Blade Runner, Oscar Pistorius. You all know that his story was there in the paper, how much he fought and how much was the question raised on his ability, I would say. People even spoke that he is having much more, benefit by using the prosthetic legs. So this is the level of thoughts up to which we can, fall. Because perhaps somewhere we have there is some loss which perhaps we feel that we are going to have if somebody who is not like us is going to achieve something more, right? So when I met Virender in Bangalore, I realized that he is the perfect man to convey the message that it is not the disability, whether he is having, in fact he says himself, he conveys it, that he is lucky that he can't speak. All 3 rules which Gandhiji told us to be followed, he is already following, and he is happy. He is happy. He is so confident, he is so outgoing, you can see he is not having any sort of inhibitions to convey any message sitting here or standing there. And that is how he is doing things on ground. So he has reached up to a level where he does not need any support in the form of ability or disability. But what next? So there are 2 issues now. One side, when we don't have any such concrete policy where the normal people also can take part in a regular sports fashion at school level or city level or state. There are, but then how much it is happening on ground? It is missing. I never felt it. I never got the chance to do something. Second thing is about the persons with disability. Now, among them, we have the set perceptions among the society itself that if somebody who is little different, perhaps he will not be competent enough of doing something. So in the bargain, the authorities who are supposed to actually help him, one, they feel this way that kya karega ye, chhod pare kisi dusre badhiya pehlwan ko leke aao. Secondly, they already have this thing, acha wo mera bhatija hai, like Rahul says, there is a lot of nepotism in that. So nobody is worried about Indian or the reputation Indian flag carries. There is no passion about that. It is only about me. If I am in the chair, how can I help me and how can I build up my corpus and how can I support my family and the friends and all. So this is not possible at all, that if we carry on like this, somebody like Virender, maybe he may get the chance. What about others? Many like him perhaps might not even. Yesterday only I was talking to a person, you would be amazed. He wanted to come to Delhi to prepare for UPSC. He lost both the legs, right? Since I think when he was 4 years old, because of some disease. And the disease is very rarely found disease that he gets infection, he can't wear even prosthesis. And mind you, you would be amazed to know, since class 4th onwards, he never went to school and he cleared state this examination, what do you call that, counterpart of UPSC in the states? Yes. So he is already in the services in Madhya Pradesh. Now he wanted to upgrade himself and he was talking to me, sir, in any way can I come to Delhi and study more and clear UPSC. Somebody who has not gone to school ever is capable of doing such things. But we are not aware about such people. The reason is there is no such information spread among us at school level itself. And in the Inclusion Summit also, Madam was there when I spoke on this subject, that I started running marathons in 2009 when there was nobody, since ages, since the history of India, as an amputee could actually thought of doing it. I went on to the ground and did that. And in the phase of only 2009 to 2013 now, there are many more amputees who are running. They are taking part in marathons. There are around 6 more Blade Runners in this India itself and many more others who are doing things. If I, by doing actions on ground, can do it, that means awareness is required to be spread among public. It is not that Virenders, there is no, lack of people like Virenders available. Now what will you do after going from here? I'm sorry to say, but you people also will just walk out of this hall and shut your eyes and ears. Very good if you don't do it, but I want to take this promise from you all that will you spread this word on the social media? Will you create a wave among yourself, among Indians? There are many people of India has created waves for various reasons. So I want to take this promise from you all. Will you actually do your job? Forget about government at all. Rahul is sitting here to take them to court. Madam is there in itself, government, and do something. I am there, things on ground. What about you people? So will you all promise me that you will spread this word and do not just sit?
Yes, I think loudly, yes.
Yes.
Anyway, not taking much time. There are few plans, but those plans I will only share once the concrete thing will happen. I don't want to just say, brag like any other politicians. We have this thing discussed among ourselves, and God willing, we will do it on the ground, taking the words on the ground, spreading it all across and getting the public support. Then I will come to you all again and ask, please spread it now. If not, at present you will do that. One of the way they have already started, let's see the movie and take it forward with them. It's a very passionate approach which 3 of them and the producer has done. This is what the passion is required by every Indian to keep that flag high. Unless we have that passion, we will not be able to do anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Devender ji, and yes, there's a strong yes, I think, for the motion, and we'll go into the film, but with the whole idea, and after the film we'll have all kinds of discussion on how we can take it forward. I thank all the panelists and hope this film moves you to move many mountains henceforth. Thank you, and enjoy the film.
So if there's anything that you would like to say or suggest?
Hello sir, Namaste. Virender Singh सर जी ने जो अचीवमेंट की है वो रियली मुझे आज हार्ट टचिंग लगी, बट गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट पेइंग अटेंशन टू हिम. दैट इज अ कॉज ऑफ कंसर्न, एंड आई वांट टू नो आफ्टर he got the gold medal in the Paralympics, what government's response was and what government assured him, whether government has delivered their promises or not.
जैसा हमने फिल्म में एंड में दिखाया कि वो जीत के आए पर उनको उसके लिए कुछ भी अवार्ड या रिवॉर्ड, कैश रिवॉर्ड के तरीके से नहीं मिला। वो इसीलिए कि हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी में जैसा उन्होंने कहा कि 5 करोड़ रुपए अनाउंस हुआ था, बट वो पॉलिसी वेग थी। उस पॉलिसी में ये लिखा था कि फिजिकली हैंडीकैप्ड एंड अदर डिसेबल्ड पीपल विल बी ट्रीटेड एट पार विद नॉर्मल ओलंपियंस। ओलंपियंस को मिलते हैं 5 करोड़, 3 करोड़, 2 करोड़ गोल्ड, सिल्वर, ब्रॉन्ज के लिए। ये वापस आते हैं तो ये जाते हैं और एप्लीकेशन देते हैं और वो ये बोलते हैं कि बिकॉज इसमें डेफ ओलंपिक्स नहीं लिखा हुआ है, उसमें पैरालंपिक्स मेंशन्ड है, तो इसलिए हम सिर्फ पैरालंपिक्स और ओलंपिक्स को देंगे। एंड बिकॉज डेफ ओलंपिक्स मेंशन्ड नहीं है, यू आर नॉट एलिजिबल टू हैव एनीथिंग फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट। सो बेसिकली सिर्फ उस वर्ड के ना होने से वो ये बोल रहे हैं कि आप लोग उस पर्व्यू में आते ही नहीं हो। तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का वो कहना है। सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी तो हमने देखी, एक ही जगह पे मेंशन है उनका, वो है द स्कीम ऑफ स्पेशल अवार्ड्स फॉर मेडल विनर्स, जहाँ पे सिर्फ उनका नॉन एलिजिबल इवेंट्स में एंट्री है, व्हिच सेज के पीपल हु आर डेफ, dumb, blind, dumb is the wrong word to use there, and it's in the policy. So deaf, para, blind, all these people will not be covered in the policy. That is of the central sports governments. So basically central ने तो मना कर दिया कि हम कुछ नहीं देंगे इन लोगों को। स्टेट ने बोला, पर अब वो बोल रहे हैं कि पॉलिसी जो, अब वो ये बोल रहे हैं कि जो पॉलिसी में है वो मिलेगा, पर पॉलिसी कुछ बोलती नहीं है। तो देयरफॉर उसको आने के बाद अभी तक कुछ नहीं मिला है उस अचीवमेंट में। तो ये है अभी सिचुएशन।
ये जो हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट से बोले हैं कि नहीं मिलेगा, हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट से जो बोले हैं कि ये इसमें पैरालंपिक्स में देंगे मगर डेफ में नहीं देंगे, सो इज इट द स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ द हरियाणा गवर्नमेंट?
या इट इज द स्पोर्ट्स मिनिस्ट्री।
I want to ask, how does the director know sign language? How did you learn sign language?
It's also a personal language there. My mother, she's 95% deaf, and for a very long time I was uncomfortable with that knowledge. I mean, growing up in school, I wasn't really comfortable having friends over, and this film also gave me the opportunity to see the deaf culture from very close by. बहुत पास से मैंने जाना deaf culture को, और जो discomfort था मुझे, जो बड़े होके कम होने लगा था, but after this film, after talking to people, after talking to Virender, उसकी story जान के, उसका strength जान के, it was very important for me, and it happened that I slowly came over it, and this is the second forum where I've been talking about this. I mean, it's been a long journey from what I was to what I am, and thanks to Virender and the film to have done this. तो ये उस लिए मुझे थोड़ा सा आता था, पर यूनिवर्सल साइन लैंग्वेज जो आप लोग करते हैं वो बहुत तेजी होती है, बहुत फास्ट होती है, वो मुझे नहीं आती थी। पर वीरेंद्र के साथ रहते रहते धीरे धीरे काफी सीख लिया। 1 साल उसके साथ थे, तो वो करते करते आ गई जितनी।
मेरे पास 2 क्वेश्चन हैं। One is for you. All the officials that you have shown in the movie, have they seen the movie? And if yes, how have they responded? और सर आपके लिए एक सवाल है, हरियाणा में बहुत सारे लोकल पंचायत लीडर्स रहते हैं, उनको उनके प्रॉब्लम के बारे में मालूम रहेगा और उनको रिवॉर्ड मिलने वाला था वो भी मालूम रहेगा, बट उन्होंने आपके लिए कूड़ा साहब से या किसी से बात किया, और किया तो क्या हुआ?
मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूँ इसको। ये पूछ रहे हैं जो अपनी पंचायत होती है हरियाणा में, उसके माध्यम से भी आप अपने विचार को आगे बढ़ा सकते हो। पंचायत और इनके वेलफेयर के लिए कुछ किया या नहीं, इनका ये क्वेश्चन है।
पंचायत जितने जी हमारे गांव जाना है मेरे को, उनसे मैंने बात करी तो वो ये सोचते हैं कि भुट्टा साहब मेरे को कभी अपना भाई की तरह मानता है, मैं सीधा जाता हूँ तो सब आदमी पीछे हट जाते हैं, भाई तेरी तो सीधी बात है। तो इस कारण वहाँ कोई बोलता है नहीं आगे, ये बात किसी ने बोली है नहीं तो आपकी बात बिल्कुल सही है, वो बात सीधी हो सकती है। अगर 10-20 गाँव में आगे सरपंच पंचायत आ गए बोल रहे हैं तो मान जाएंगे, समझ जाएंगे, लेकिन मेरे को तो घर की तरह मानते हैं, तो सब आदमी पिछड़ जाते हैं। अगर जीत का तो उनका देख बात, अब मैं कैसे बोलूँ ये बात, क्या करूँ, मैं तो बीच में फंस गया ना।
नहीं सर, आप कह सकते हो उनको, इसमें सम्मान वाली कोई बात नहीं, सबको ये लगता है तो आप जा सकते हो उनको।
वो ठीक ऊपर मैं इसको साथ ले गया थे, वहाँ भाई साहब मेरे साथ थे, तो महाजी ये वीरेंद्र कह रहा है मैं रवानी नहीं करूँगा। तो बोला भाई क्यों नहीं करेगा, महाजी इससे पूछा तो इसने बताया सारा मैं, फिर आपने बताया महाजी ये कह रहे हैं, भाई साहब ने बताया कि ये रवानी इसलिए नहीं करेगा, इसको पैसे तो मिले ही नहीं। तो इसको 2-4 मुक्के मार के बोलो तेरा सब सामान मिला, तू चिंता मत कर, देंगे तेरे को, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, तू पहलवानी कर। फिर ये बोला खाने को चाहिए, तो बुढ़ा साहब मैं साथ में बैठा था, बुढ़ा साहब बोला पहले तेरा बाप देगा, और इसका बस का नहीं होगा तो मैं दूंगा, तेरे को कभी नहीं आने देंगे हम। अब भाई साहब जब इतनी नजदीक बात हो जाए तो मैं क्या दूंगा आपको, बता
करते कुछ है नहीं,
करते
कुछ है नहीं,
करते कुछ है करने के लिए तो आपके सामने ये बात करते करेंगे, मना भी नहीं करते,
वो करते हैं वो मना भी नहीं करते, दोनों बात।
ये बात पूरे साफ कहने वाला बात नहीं है। तो आप जैसे मेरे पुत्र का बढ़ना हो, अगर और किसी कारण का कोई बात हो तो मेरे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, चाहे राष्ट्रपति हो चाहे प्रधानमंत्री हो, ऐसा इंसान है, सही बात के लिए मैं कहीं बोल सकता हूँ, लेकिन सीएम साहब को मैं कुछ नहीं बोल सकता। मैं न्यू नहीं बोल सकता कि मेरा लड़का है और मामला देखा जी, हमारे को 10-5 किले भी हैं, हमने कोई दिक्कत नहीं, इज्जत के ऊपर चाहे किले में क्यों सारे, मेरे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन भुट्टा साहब को मैं ये नहीं कहूँगा मेरे पास नहीं,
ये बात देखिए, आपको तो ये बात करनी चाहिए, इंसाफ की लड़ाई के लिए तो बोलना चाहिए ना,
ये बात ये देश में
बच्चे के लिए नहीं,
देखो जी
सभी के लिए होनी।
इस बात के लिए गांव पंचायत जैसे भाई साहब बोल रहे हैं, पंचायत गांव के सरपंच पूरा हरियाणा और ये पब्लिक दिल्ली सारे को बोलना चाहिए ना,
तो जानना चाहिए ना, आपको भी जानना चाहिए, औरों को भी जानना चाहिए, और जाना भी चाहिए उनके पास, सुंदर जी के पास। मेरी आवाज
तो बस ये कह रहे हैं कि उनका अब पर्सनली थोड़ा ऐसा मामला है,
आप पर्सनली को हटाइएगा, जो उन्होंने वादा किया उसको तो निभाना चाहिए ना, उसके लिए तो जाना चाहिए ना।
ये वादे को भाई साहब ये पूछने पड़े
नहीं मैडम, इसके लिए लोकपाल के लिए पब्लिक इकट्ठी हो सकती, तो इनके लिए क्यों नहीं हो सकती, पब्लिक को करना चाहिए इसको,
पब्लिक को इकट्ठा किया जाएगा तो साथ में तो चलना चाहिए।
यहाँ सब बुद्धिजीवी बैठे हैं तो इसको क्यों नहीं उसको प्रेजेंट कर सकते।
सही बात।
Madam, if I intervene in that, I think I have louder voice, not to worry. हमारे गांव में अभी भी जो एक सभ्यता जो मानी जाती है और जिसको फॉलो किया जाता है, उसमें अपने लिए मांगना एक अच्छी बात नहीं मानी जाती। इस कारण से वो अपनी नजरों में खुद गिरे, इतना ही वो वैसा कभी नहीं करेंगे। यही कारण से वो कभी अपने लिए या अपने बच्चे के लिए या अपने घर के किसी के लिए किसी के सामने हाथ नहीं फैलाएंगे। ये एक सभ्यता कुछ है ऐसी हमारे गांव में जो भी फॉलो हो रही है, इसी कारण से वो कभी नहीं मांगेंगे।
मैं इस बात के लिए नहीं हूँ, मतलब मैं इसलिए कहना चाहती हूँ कि मतलब देखिए ना, अपने लिए तो नहीं, ये एक वीरेंद्र की बात है, ऐसा
नहीं तो मेरे नाम का है
जो मतलब वो अपने जैसे मान लीजिए इन्होंने तो कह दिया होता साहब मेरे साथ जाते, हमारा आमना सामना हो सकता है, भाईचारा है, लेकिन जो वीरेंद्र जैसे कई,
अब ये बात बिल्कुल आपकी सही है, वीरेंद्र जैसे कई हैं, लेकिन जो इंसान इतनी खुद की खुददारी नहीं रख पा रहा है कि वो अपने इनसे रोज मिलता है और इनको बोलता भी है, उस वीरेंद्र ने खुद उनके सामने उससे रिक्वेस्ट करी है, उसके बावजूद अगर उन्होंने मजाक में डाल दिया तो वो बोल के भी उसको क्या फायदा होगा। इस डिस्कशन को तो मैडम हम इसी तरीके से आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं, बट इसका कोई एंड नहीं होगा। ना ये मांगेंगे, उन्होंने इनडायरेक्टली मांगा भी है, उस बच्चे ने खूब मांगा है, फिर भी नहीं मिला, तो हम तो उस कंक्लूजन पे पहुंचेंगे उन्होंने देना नहीं है कुछ। अब उसके आगे क्या करें ये हमने डिसाइड करना है।
I agree with the पिताजी
मत से सहमत हूँ कि भाई वो नहीं मांग सकती, ये लड़ाई शायद अब आम जनता की है।
Yes.
आम जनता we as a community have to take up the cause of Devender because one, it's right and it's his legitimate views and we have to ensure that he gets the views.
First of all, I want to congratulate. Can I complete? Yeah. First of all, I want to congratulate you. It was a terrific movie. मेरा क्वेश्चन जो है फॉर वीरेंद्र कि इतनी जो मुश्किलें हैं उनकी लाइफ में आई हैं और उन्होंने उन सबको पार कर उन्होंने 2013 का भी डेफ ओलंपिक जीता है, तो क्या है ऐसी क्या इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है उनको कि इतनी मुश्किलों के बावजूद भी ही इज फाइटिंग एंड ही वांट्स टू गो टू रियो? व्हाट्स दैट इंस्पिरेशन?
ये कहते हैं कि मैं कोशिश करके भी क्या करूँगा, कोशिश करूँगा चलो रियो ओलंपिक तक मैं कोशिश करता हूँ, उसके बाद भी ऐसे वो मेरे साथ उसका जवाब क्या है? अभी उल्टा साहब टाल रहे हैं, कल को फिर वही टालेंगे। हमारा रूल रेगुलेशन में तो कुछ नहीं है कब का।
ये पूछना चाहते हैं कि इतनी मुश्किलें होके भी उन्होंने इस स्टेज तक कैसे पहुंचे? उससे आप गलत समझ
कैसे पहुंचे?
कैसे
नहीं, वो ये कह रहे हैं
Namaste सबको. I am very happy to see you all here. When I was young, 1997 में मैंने बहुत मैचेस खेले, बहुत जीता और डेफ लोगों के साथ भी खेले. पहले मुझे डेफ लोग इतने पसंद नहीं थे. 2005 में पहली बारी मैं ओलंपिक्स के लिए गया, बट गवर्नमेंट ने मुझे कुछ नहीं दिया. मेरे डैड ही मेरा सारा खर्चा देते रहे एंड अपनी सारी फार्मिंग से मेरे लिए पे करते रहे. मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे बहुत सपोर्ट किया एंड हर जगह मुझे लेकर गए. में, 2006 में और 2013 में मैंने बहुत सारे मेडल्स लिए और फर्स्ट रैंक भी ली. एंड आज मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ एंड मैं बहुत इंस्पायर्ड हूँ कि मैं आगे जाऊँ एंड मेरी ट्रेनिंग की वजह से ही मैं इतने आगे आया हूँ. एंड जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द विसल मेरे को बहुत बार डिस्क्वालीफाई किया गया है, which makes me really sad. So इसलिए विसल मेरे लिए जब एक बैरियर है तो मैं डेफ ओलंपिक्स चूज करता हूँ एंड मैं आगे भी वही करना चाहता हूँ. मैं बहुत खुश हूँ यहाँ पर 2013 में, बट गवर्नमेंट इज स्टिल नॉट सपोर्टिंग मी, which makes me really sad. अगर गवर्नमेंट मुझे सपोर्ट करती है तो मैं शायद और इंस्पायर्ड हूँ और बेटर परफॉर्म करूँ. सिर्फ मैं ही नहीं, और भी बहुत सारे डिसेबल्ड लोग हैं जो बहुत इस वजह से सैड हो जाते हैं कि उनको एंड हियरिंग नॉट जो हियरिंग लोग हैं और नॉन डिसेबल्ड लोग हैं वो आगे बढ़ जाते हैं. So that's all I want to say.
Hello.
Congratulations. I'm just one member of the team. There's two other directors who are more important, and an entire team of 7-8 people who worked on the film. So I will congratulate them too, and thank you.
We are very proud to see Virender here. We are really proud of you, and I am really amazed to see that there's one deaf person who has won the medal, and even after so much of discrimination, he has led through it. But one thing I want is to look into cross-disability issues also. And yes, we are physically disabled, but we can play with the hearing people since we do not have any physical disability, and deafness is an invisible disability. The problem is just the law, and if the law can be amended, then we can have a better future. Thank you. Thank you for making the film. It was really an inspiration for all of us. And if you could work on the deaf subtitles also. And if you could have a video alongside going around, a sign language interpreting in the video. So that'll be good.
Do we have any other last question? One or two questions? Yes. Can we take two more here?
Can I have a mic?
Yeah, just one here.
There was one thing that Virender's father said that it was mixed in the translation, in the interpretation there, was that in 2002 you might have seen in the film that he came first in the cable body event or 74 kg competition, and he came first in the country. And he was to go to the international event, but he was not sent, saying that he can't hear the whistle. He was made to stand with his back to the referee, and he was not made to play. And just because he couldn't hear the whistle, he couldn't go. तो वो एक बहुत क्रूशियल पॉइंट था, जब उसको लगा कि शायद मेरे लिए कोई नहीं है, क्योंकि अगर मैं जीत जाता हूँ, मेरे को ऐसे रेफरी नहीं देते, क्योंकि मैं जीत के आया और उसके बाद भी मुझे नहीं भेजा. तो दैट वाज, और उसके बाद वो काफी रोया, उसके बाद काफी उसके साथ प्रॉब्लम हुई. तो वो एक चीज थी जो शायद इसलिए.
Hello, good evening. The question is to Vivek and Major. The question is, have you taken this issue to the mainstream media? And apart from Rajdeep Sardesai, what's their response to mainstream media about this?
You interviewed Mr. Sardesai, so I'm wondering, did CNN IBN cover this in any way? They did?
Yeah, they did. So in the mainstream media, the problem is that we have a lot of issues that we see on a regular basis, and it has had 8 national news stories, print and television. But yeah, people see it, they talk about it, they sometimes email us, but that's where it ends, because हम लोग काफी issues देखते हैं और हम लोग उसके बारे में कुछ सोचते हैं और उसके बाद शायद उसके लिए because we're इतना सारा हम लोग देखते हैं कि we just I think we forget about these issues, and तो हमने कोशिश की है काफी बार, और काफी mainstream में national news stories हुई है. उससे क्या tangible benefits मैं आपको दे सकता हूँ, वो ये है कि one is extremely proud that now a lot of people know about him. He came to Ahmedabad for a couple of screenings and everybody wanted to know about him. They had seen him in the newspapers and they had seen him through social media. तो वो करते हुए कुछ ना कुछ बदलाव आया है, पर फिर भी उससे कुछ tangible change है उसकी लाइफ में तो शायद नहीं, except for the fact that now he's known and people know about his story. This is a very important point. It is a very important first step that should have been taken, and that is being taken. stories that I've told.
Just one suggestion, if everybody here who happens to be on Facebook or something like that could post, just everybody here does it, I think that itself will create a huge amount of awareness.
You could go to facebook.com/Goonga Pehelwan. You could just search Goonga Pehelwan on Facebook and you could see the video and see the updates. There was a question there.
There was one more question. My question is to Virender. I want to know what makes you fight for the country which time and again has questioned your integrity and has discriminated. So what makes you fight for that country and expect anything from that country?
I still love my country and I can never reject it. I am a humble person and I cannot boast about it. It's God and I believe in Him. I accept everybody and I love them. I don't want to reject anybody.
On behalf of LILA, I would like to congratulate the directors and Virender for this amazing kind of awe-inspiring story. And as we and all of us have been saying, like, please go to this Facebook page, express your support. We will, on the LILA page also we have this, this whole support system. So if we can all share it and mobilize some kind of support from all over, because we have a deadline, this is the Olympics in 2016. So if we can generate some public support, we will surely get the policymakers to think about this very positively. We are all very hopeful about this, and we will also have other screenings, other programs on the ground. Please be supportive of this whole thing. I thank all the people who have been part of this: Poonam, Rahul, Devender, Virender, all, and Vivek, who has come representing the directors team, and Virender's uncle and father, who've been kind of inspiring him, training him, etc., etc. So we thank everyone, and we also thank Surabhi Taneja, who has actually done the bridging, completely goes to her. And also, it's also very nice to see all of you here, this kind of a cause. And people coming from all over, and the hall is full, and it's not just that we are looking at a full hall and we are feeling very self-indulgent and saying that okay, our program has this full audience. That is not the intention. If you have been associated with LILA at some point or the other, you will know that we would want to take things forward. It's not just public lectures or public programs that we are interested in. They are only instrumental, the first step in doing certain other things in the society. So please go to the Facebook page, to the website, and support this cause. We will take it forward as much as we can, to the best of our ability. Thank you very much for coming, and good night. One more announcement, a related kind of issue, a topic. We have our last LILA Prism lecture on the 23rd, the same hall. Dr. Srinath Reddy, who is the Public Health Foundation's chairperson, the president of Public Health Foundation, he will be delivering a lecture on is public health, universal health, dream, or are we just talking? So it's a related kind of issue. So please be there, please come and support this. Thank you very much.